Hey, Tim Sykes here, and we have a very good video lesson today. I'm going to be talking about the stocks that are in play right now, reviewing January, which was an incredible month for so many traders. And then also, I'm going to be answering 30 frequently asked questions. So, this is going to be a mammoth video lesson because next week, frankly, for me, is going to be kind of crazy. My charity is announcing our first seven-figure donation officially, and I have a feeling my life might get a little crazy. People might realize, wait a minute, this is real. When you start really influencing the world, it's kind of cool. So I'm excited for that. But I do have an ask of you. Normally, I don't ask anything of you. I just say, hey, watch my video lessons, study, learn. I'm asking you guys, please, please, please share this video lesson on Facebook, on Twitter, on Snapchat, on social media, on Instagram. Tell your followers to watch this video because I'm getting so many one-off questions and it's frankly crazy to me. So this video is going to answer so many people's questions. And please, I just ask that you share it. Share it on Profitly. Share it in the chat room. Post it everywhere because I'm going to try to be as useful as possible. And I'll get to stocks in a second. PULM is the stock of the moment. In just a few days, it's gone from the ones to the threes. Several of my top students and I really underestimated it. And guess what? That's okay. It's not the end of the world. It happens. But first, let me talk about stocks to trade. Just real quick, prices are going up in a few days, so I would sign up now, lock in the current prices. It's not going to go down, and trust me, this is the most useful software out there. I've released several guides recently to the new features like paper trading and Oracle. By the way, Oracle, hold up, let me try and find this. Oracle is our new kind of AI on stocks to trade, and it's not perfect. It's like a computer, but it's trying to predict moves. And my top student, Tim Grittani, who's now taken 1,500 into nearly 4 million now. He's in the challenge chat room, FYI, by the way. Those of you guys in the trading challenge, get in the chat room because it's not just me. It's also Tim Grittani, Mark Crook, and Michael Good. But we're all commenting, and these top students are giving exclusive trade alerts to my trading challenge students. But the funny thing is that Tim Grittani, Croy Runner is his nickname on Profitly, gave a webinar Friday morning, and Oracle, our AI on stocks to trade, was saying PULM was a buy around like $2.95, $3 a share. And Tim Grittani was like, oh, I'm not going to trust a computer. And frankly, I don't really trust computers either. But it's kind of crazy. PULM actually was a good dip buy there. And so Tim Grittani and I, and Dux, my newest six-figure student, we were all wrong on PULM. We underestimated it, and the freaking Oracle on stocks to trade was right. Here's a post on Croy Runner in the chat room, and he was shorting, the late day run up, and it just kept going. Dux Trades, some of you guys know him, some of you don't. Where is his chart? I have too many windows open. Here's Dux Trader. DUX is his username on Profitly. Please follow him. He's doing awesome, not just in monetary terms, but he's also released a few video lessons exclusively on Profitly. And he's, just having a hell of a few weeks and months, but he lost 10,000 roughly on PULM. Year to date, though, he's up $150,000, which is awesome. And he's posting a lot in the Trading Challenge chat room. Here's Tim Grittani. He's at 3.6 million. I think he actually has to upload some trades because he said he made around 300,000 for the month. Yeah, he hasn't even posted January numbers yet. I think he does it at the end of the month, but he's made roughly 300,000. So he's closing in on 4 million. In case you want to know why you should trade penny stocks, I understand not everyone's going to be able to do this, but this is what's possible. Here's my first millionaire student, Michael Good. He's at 1.82 million. Let's see how he did in January. 20,000, not bad. Not bad at all. Mark Crook, one of my other top students, he's giving exclusive trade alerts and video lessons to the challenge. The challenge is just awesome. We really changed it up and upgraded it the past few weeks and months. Yeah, Mark Crook made 36,000 for the month. So Crook is making 36,000. Tim Grittani is making 300,000. Dux is making 150,000. Here's my profit chart. I'm closing in on 5 million in total profits, and I made just under 50,000 for the month. And I'm working on trading with a bigger size now. I'm working with traveling. Frankly, I have a crazy travel schedule the next few days, and I'm not using that as an excuse. I'm actually bragging about it, and I'm proud that I can trade while I'm traveling, because a lot of you guys have full-time jobs or school, and you're like, oh, I can't do this. I mean, I'm going to some really remote places in the world. Here's one picture from a few weeks ago in Laos. And it was awesome meeting the kids from my charity's school. But at the same time, we built 2 schools in Laos. And when I announce this 7-figure donation next week officially, you'll see that there's a lot more schools. But when you go to some of these countries, I mean, the Wi-Fi is so bad. And some people are like, oh, Tim, why do you even bring up that you have bad Wi-Fi? Because as a trader, it's your duty to look at every single indicator and look at your environment. So if you're trying to trade from the bathroom of your, high school, I've done that before. Or if you're trying to trade, where you step out of a business meeting and you're like trading in the hallway, I've done that before. You have to recognize your own personal situation. And that's why Trader Checklist is so key. And if you go to traderchecklist.com, you can still watch it for free. We're actually going to upload Trader Checklist the first 11 hours to YouTube, because I know there's been some technical glitches, and frankly, I just can't deal with it. YouTube seems to be the best video provider. So Trader Checklist, the next few weeks will be uploaded to YouTube for free, and I'm still working on the additional hours, so give me some time with that. I thought that I could get it done by February 1st, but frankly, I'm just overloaded. But anyways, props to Tim Grittani on his $300,000 month. Michael Good making 20,000, Mark Crook making 36,000, and Dux Trades making 150,000, and myself making nearly 50,000. I show you this not so that you can feel bad or so that you feel like you have to compete, but to show you that what is possible, because none of us knew anything about penny stocks just a few years ago. None of us were millionaires just a few years ago. But this is a testimonial to hard work and studying. And I got to give props to some upcoming students. Legal Pimp, he came to my in-person coaching. I teach in person, for those of you who don't know. Send an email to admin@timothysykes.com if you want to learn in person. We're doing one in Miami in March, just like a dozen students. And then we're going to do another one, I think in Europe actually, this summer. I don't know the details yet, but send an email to admin@timothysykes.com if you want to learn in person. Here's Legal Pimp, and he was dropping, and he was like, whoa, I need a change. And, I talked with him and coached him and taught him in person, and you can see exactly when that change happened. He was on the wrong track, over trading, and now he's gone from negative 5,000. He's still negative overall, so it's not like any great achievement yet, but you can see the clear trend change. And, he's just making a few $100s here or there and cutting losses quickly when he's wrong. It adds up. Here's Hudson Trades. He's made 16 grand. He was also there learning in person. And I got to give props to Steven Johnson. He's still in the negative overall, but he had a fantastic week making $200, and I think he won on like 4 out of 6 trades. So it's about really getting accustomed to these patterns and seeing what works. And that's not always an easy thing to say, because we're trading penny stocks, and a lot of the best rules that I learned are counterintuitive. There was one good lesson I wanted to share. Listen to this video for a second.
Not one stock will ever make you rich as a trader. If you're an inventor, if you're a CEO, that's different. But as a trader, not any one play will make you so rich that you'll never have to work again. But if you break my rules and you let one play with a small loss turn into a potentially big disaster, and it gets into your head and you can't cut your losses because you're stubborn, well, guess what? Then you hurt your confidence, you hurt your account, and potentially you could be out of the game. You could be totally broke, you could lose all your money on one play. All it takes is one to be out. So you must always be on guard with every stock that you trade. Think about the risk.
So that was a little tip. I filmed a few of these little tips a few weeks ago, and we're going to start posting them. But you always have to be on guard. Any one play can take you out of the game. And this leads me into some of these FAQs. I guess I'll do some FAQs for a little bit, and then I'll go into the stocks that I'm watching for Monday. This is the number one question I get, and it's like, how much do you need to start? And some of you guys think like, oh, I can't start learning until I have enough money to trade. And granted, I think it's actually useful to learn and trade and test. Think of yourself as like a scientist, and you're testing, refining. But some of you guys just don't have enough money to trade, and that's not a bad thing in the beginning. You should be studying hugely, much more than, trading at first. When you don't have information, when you don't have knowledge, when you don't have experience, trading is next to impossible. Okay, 90% of traders already lose. So if you don't have education and you have no idea how this works, if you're just throwing money into the market, you're going to lose it. So I'm a big fan of several of my students who are like, you know what, I don't even need to trade right now. I'm just going to dedicate 1, 2, 3, 6 months to studying before I risk my hard-earned money. So if you say, oh, how much money do I need to start? You don't need any money in a brokerage account to start studying. And you should start studying today, because the sooner you start your education process, the better it'll be. What broker should I use? So this is where the money actually matters, because different brokers have different minimums. I'm using E-Trade this year. My $5,000 account has grown to roughly $7,000 in month one. And that's not a perfect example of what you can do. I'll have a video review of what I did right and wrong in that account soon for the month. But E-Trade's minimum is $500. That said, I know E-Trade only allows certain countries. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. Interactive Brokers is the best broker that I use for international accounts, and their minimum is $10,000. So I know that limits a lot of people. But if you're under the age of 26, you can open an account, I believe, for $3,000. That's like a little loophole. But then there's a bunch of other brokers. The brokers that I use are specifically for short selling, because I like betting against scams. And so E-Trade has shares to short sometimes. Interactive Brokers has some shares to short sometimes. But if you're not shorting, you can use pretty much any broker. I would warn you against Robinhood, because Robinhood, I don't know what the minimum is, but they have free stock trades. So you're like, oh, no commissions, this is great. They have terrible executions, no after hours, no short selling. And if you cheap out on your education and you cheap out on your brokers, trust me, it will cost you far more in the long run. This is one of the counterintuitive rules that I've learned. So I gladly pay my commissions to like an E-Trade or a Scottrade or a Schwab or Fidelity or TD Ameritrade. These are brokers that you can rely on. And as I've said many times, I would not have any of these sketchy offshore brokers, any of these prop firms, any of these hedge funds that offer trading and they offer specific leverage and like get around the PDT rule. I don't like any of that, because it's very, very questionable. And if and when the hammer drops, you could be out of all your money. So I stick with big brokers this year and for the foreseeable future, because I like a safety first. And I should add this to this. What is the PDT rule? So certain brokers, like offshore brokers, allow you to escape the PDT rule. The PDT rule is called the pattern day trader rule, where you can only get 3 day trades per 5 rolling day period. So basically 3 day trades per week. And some people are like, Tim, only 3 day trades per week? Like, that's terrible. If you hold a stock overnight, it's not a day trade. So it's not that bad. And frankly, when you have a small account, it's only applicable to accounts under $25,000. When you have a small account, you shouldn't be doing more than 3 day trades per week. I do know that, some people open up 2 different accounts, like one at E-Trade and one at Scottrade, and, let's say like $2,000 or $3,000 at each one. And that way, you have 6 day trades per week. But I really don't think you need to trade that much, especially in the beginning. You really need to be focused on studying. I know that's disheartening. I know you want to grow your money real quick, but you got to study. And any money that you make in the beginning without knowledge, without planning, it's not going to be meaningful. It's not life-changing. The way that I see trading and the way that I've utilized it and my top students have utilized it is that this changes your life if you get on the right path. And in the beginning, whether you make 1,000 or 2,000, that's nice. Okay, it's fun. It's like a fun little gimmick, like, oh, this is cute. It tickles, right? But $1,000 or $2,000 for anybody in the world is not life-changing. Okay, I know a lot of people would want it, and some of you guys are just dead broke watching this, and I get that, and that's fine. But to really change your life, to be my next millionaire student or six-figure student, you have to get on the right path. And in the beginning, you should be focused on studying. This is a question I get all the time. What's the best investment to put my money into right now? Everyone's like, I know you teach and you have all this long-term planning stuff, but just give me a tip. What should I put my money in right now? My answer is always put money into your future self. Think about what your future self is capable of. I did an interview last week with Lewis Howes. He's a great podcaster. You can do a Google search for Timothy Sykes and Lewis Howes. You can see the hour-long interview. And I was talking about, what can you do that will benefit yourself 10 years from now? If your future self is looking back at you, this is 2017. So let's pretend that it's you in 2027. What is it saying, you in 2027? What is that person trying to tell you in 2017? Invest in yourself. Invest in your education. Invest in your skill sets. I know it's corny. I know it's cliche. But you are the only person and the only thing that you can count on in this world. You can't trust any company. You can't trust any management, okay? All these penny stocks, they're junk in the long run. In 2027, pretty much every single stock that we're trading and talking about right now will be bankrupt. So you have to understand what penny stocks are. That said, they're very good for trading right now. So I don't care what they are in 2027. But you will be a different person 10 years from now. And what can you do today to make that 2027 version of yourself the best possible? And I want you thinking about that. Leave a comment below this video with the number 2027, 2027. And I want you thinking, what can I do right now, every single day, that will make me the best in 2027, 10 years from now? And the answer is invariably educating yourself and getting on the right path. All my millionaire students and I learned this all within a few years, but we had the right mindset from the beginning. As tough as it is for me to create a millionaire from scratch, it's impossible if you have the wrong mindset. If you're like, oh, Tim, I know you do this, but just give me a tip. No, I will not give you a stock tip. Any one stock tip doesn't matter. As I said in that little video I just played, any one stock is not going to make you rich. But if you approach it the wrong way, it could make you poor if you go all in, if you use leverage. So you have to think, what can really make you rich? What can really change your life? What can get you out of the 9-to-5 rat race or debts or just the average life that most people have? What can get you into 6-7 figures? And that is education. This video, this question is funny. I wanted to include it. And I just wrote these questions up. It took me 5 minutes to think of all these questions, but I get this in variations of this a lot. How do you sleep at night when you just rip people off, promising them millions and pipe dreams? I think that, again, it goes back to mindset. If you have the mindset where you're like, oh, I'm going to make $1 million just like Tim and his top students in month one, that's impossible. And I don't think that I give off that impression, and I specifically warn against that in every single video, every single DVD. Making millions takes time. If you want to go back and look at these charts, from Mark Crook, he's one of my top students and he's only made $675,000, but he's been doing this for a few years. I mean, he's making roughly $100,000 a year. So it's more than his cubicle job where he used to be at, but he's not yet a millionaire and he's been working his butt off. The good news is you can see the trend is clearly up. Dux Trades, I mean, this guy is on fire, and I have to bring this up every time just to embarrass him. He admitted that he studies so much, he even brings my video lessons with him on the toilet, okay? How long are you on the toilet for? Unless you're eating like Mexican food or Indian food, you're only on the toilet for like a few minutes, okay? And he's using those few minutes to study my video lessons. And now, he started with $27,000. A lot of people ask me that. So if you start with 27,000, yes, this is possible, but every single second, every single minute, even on the toilet, you need to be studying. That's dedication. If you want to look at Michael Good, Okay, he's my first millionaire student. That's cool. But he's been doing this for nearly a decade. So he's making on average $200,000 per year. So you have to understand, and these are best case scenarios. These are my top students. Even my absolute top student, Tim Grittani, I mean, he's been doing this now 5 years. You divide, he's at like 4 million roughly. So, I mean, he's making, why can't I even do this? He's good, okay? So he's making like 800,000 a year. But for his first 9 months, he wasn't even consistently profitable. And now he's scaled up and now making, 300 grand a month. So it takes time. And most people aren't necessarily going to do this. Most people are going to be like Steven Johnson, where he's down 2 grand at first and he has to learn, and he's in his, third or fourth month. But again, Tim Grittani took 9 months to get consistently profitable. So there's no rush. You just need to have the right mentality. And I sleep great at night because I don't rip people off. Unlike every other person in the penny stock world and in the trading, teaching world, I work my ass off making video lessons, answering FAQs, showing trades, watch lists, commentary, every single trade alerted or live videos now, even while I'm traveling, even while I'm doing so much stuff. So I'm the hardest working person. And that's all I can do. You as a student, all you can do is study as hard as you want. And I'm not in control of that. I can't promise millions of dollars for everybody. I can't promise that you're even going to understand everything because you're in control of your studying. I'm in control of my teaching. So all I can do is give you the right mindset and give you the lessons that I wish I had when I first started because I had no mentor. So if you think that education is a ripoff, then don't learn, okay? Because you have the wrong priorities and the wrong mindset, and I don't want to deal with you. There's a lot of people who think that. They're like, oh, another DVD salesman. Like as if DVDs are so evil. Education is so evil somehow. Somehow I'm like selling drugs. I don't promise anybody that they will be a millionaire, but I do remind everybody that you could be a millionaire with enough effort. And I, unlike everybody else, have several examples to prove it. And they show all their trades. We're not just talking about, oh, I created a millionaire. Here's one screenshot. Bullshit, okay? Show me every single trade. Gains, losses, details. The details are the key to success. Don't believe anybody who just posts a screenshot here or there. We're in an industry full of liars. 90% plus of traders lose money. And the only hope of getting out of that 90% is education. So if you want to ignore education, fine, be my guest, play the odds, good luck. But if you study and if you have the right mindset every single day, studying on the damn toilet, that's how you up your odds for success. Another question, is this only for US residents? No, I have students in over 80 countries. Only E-Trade and certain political figures seem to be like US only, ignore international people. I think that, it's crazy. You should be able to trade from anywhere. All I need is Wi-Fi. And so I'm open to learning from everybody because frankly, other cultures teach me a lot. And I'm very proud to teach other cultures too. Are there any other age limits? So this is a legal question. If you're under the age of 18 years old, you need parental permission. I had a custodial account. I got started before I was 18. And so I was trading actually, I don't know if it was my mom or my dad's account. I think it was my mom. I don't know. Just for like a year. I got started when I was like 17. But if you're under the age of 18, you need parental permission. That said, you can still be studying, okay? There's no age limit on studying. The age limit is on trading only. But I know it's frustrating if you only study and you can't make any money. I get that. That's why stocks to trade, paper trading is so good. I mean, you really, really, really should be using stocks to trade, especially now that we have paper trading. If your whole goal is to get rich and you understand, okay, studying, maybe it's not real money, but paper trading and practicing will help you better understand the opportunities of how you can, trade. Like here's Marius, he's not paper trading, but he's, what did he make? He made $1,000 shorting DRYS the other day. Here's my student, Build Wealth. He's taking literally handwritten notes And that's awesome, you know. So studying, trading. Here's Evan. He's one of my dedicated students. He made 4,000 plus this week. He's a trading challenge student, and it's taken him a while. You know, I think he's been a student for like a year and a half. But again, now that he learns the patterns, he sees what he's good at, he's making $4,000 in a week. So it's possible, and it adds up over time. I just want to show you maximum examples of 6-figure students, 7-figure students, you know, 4-figure students, students who are just paper trading or studying. I have students at all different levels. What is the least amount of money I can put in and how quickly can I become a millionaire? So many people say this. What's the least? What's the minimum amount of effort? And that's just, again, the wrong mindset. What's the amount of time needed for you to understand everything, put all of those theories into practice, build a small account, and then grow it exponentially? It's a lot, okay? I don't know how much money you have. You know, I'm teaching literally thousands of people, but every single person is different. And even if you have $2,000, you might trade like a complete coward and you're like, oh, I don't want to risk more than like $200 on any one trade. And some people, you know, have $100,000 and they like to go all in. So there's a wide spectrum of everybody. And again, we all learn at different levels, and it takes different amounts of time for us to really get it and for it to click. And no one's perfect, okay? Even me, 2 decades into trading nearly every single day, I'm still learning, okay? I'm still getting in and out sometimes at the wrong, you know, entry and exits. Sometimes I'm missing trades. Sometimes I'm blowing trades. You know, I totally missed PULM. So it happens. Tim Grittani, I mean, he's my most successful student. He was dead wrong about PULM, but he cut his losses quickly. Dux was dead wrong about PULM, and he lost 10,000, and he was sick. Now, some people will say, oh, he lost 10,000 and he blamed it on being sick. Oh, what an excuse. There are no excuses. You're just trying to be real, okay? We have shit that comes up in our lives. If you're sick, it's going to influence your trading. If you have bad Wi-Fi, it's going to influence your trading. It's sickening how some people try to blame those of us who are trying to be real and say, oh, it's just an excuse. Oh, it's just another lie. There's so much negativity out there, and it's crazy. But it inspires me to teach, you know, even more. What is the difference between Tim Alerts, Penny Stocking Silver, and the Trading Challenge? So Tim Alerts is my most basic learning package. You get basically like the watch list, alerts, and chat room access. Penny Stocking Silver is one level up where you get all the same, but then you also get access to my 4,000 plus video lesson library. And then the Trading Challenge, or 4,500 videos now, and the Trading Challenge is everything combined in Tim Alerts and Penny Stocking Silver, but also you get DVDs, you get webinars, live webinars from me, Mark Crook, Michael Good, Tim Grittani. Tim Grittani just did a 3-hour live trading webinar on Friday. I tuned in for some of it. It's phenomenal. And if you're in the Trading Challenge, you have access to all the archive webinars too. And Tim Grittani himself has given, I think, like 4 dozen webinars, so you can watch that. You know, and then Michael Good, Mark Crook, and myself, I mean, we're talking about thousands of archived webinars from proven traders who started with very little. And then also, you know, now in the chat room, which is kind of crazy, you know, you have Tim Grittani and Mark Crook, I mean, just mentoring people and literally answering questions like, look at this. N. Cruz says to Tim Grittani, Tim, did you locate your shares at CP? Because supposedly there aren't any shares there now. And Tim Grittani says, yes, during my webinar at $2.99 after the slam in the 280s at 11:15. So you can have real-time conversations with these millionaire students in the challenge chat room. This is an archived version of the chat room. But in real time, you can talk with these awesome traders. And that's why I frankly love my Trading Challenge. That's why my Trading Challenge has created all of my millionaire students. There has not been any millionaire student who has not been in my Trading Challenge. And as we keep doing 2, 3, 4 live webinars per week, it's the single best opportunity to learn. That said, you need dedication. There's a lot of content. But even if you have a job, even if you're in school, study at night, study on weekends. Life is long. You have so much opportunity, but too many of you think, oh, I have to study 9 to 5. The market's only open, 9 to 4. You're limiting yourself. You can study at all hours of the day, and you can study from all over the world. I was at YouTube headquarters just a few days ago, and I wasn't allowed to take any posts, pictures or videos, but it was phenomenal. And I was just seeing like, oh my God, like education is changing, and we've utilized less than like 1% of the potential of this new technology. What is Stocks to Trade, and why do you recommend it? So Stocks to Trade has news, scans, level 2, now Twitter search, where you can literally search for any ticker on Twitter, and you can do that obviously on Twitter, but now with the Stocks to Trade overlay, you can search Twitter by like stocks trading between $1 and $2 a share, or stocks trading with low floats between $1 and $5 a share. And you'll see in real time everything that's being discussed on Twitter. We gave a few demos last week. We'll give more. And it's just so key, especially now with paper trading. And soon we'll have broker integration. Everyone's asking, when is broker integration coming? Here, I'll add that to the list. When is broker integration coming? It's being worked on. Probably a few more months. It takes time. Paper trading took like 9 months to make. Broker integration is not easy, although paper trading is kind of a bridge to getting to that. So have patience. Stop asking me. People ask me like, when is the bear market coming? Oh, that's on August 13, 2017 at precisely 2:32 p.m. Eastern. I don't know exact times and stuff like that. You'll know when we announce it. You'll know when there's a bear market, when the buys stop being such good buys, when shorts become better. The past few days, the January effect has lessened. You can clearly see that. There's a trend change. Before, a few weeks ago in early January, you had play after play jumping 100, 200, 300, 400, or even 500% in a day. Now, PULM, it's pretty good from 1 to 3 in like 5 days or 4 days. That's good. But before it was 1 to 3 in 1 day. So you can clearly see the January effect is lessening, and frankly, it's right on time because we're almost at February. Why penny stocks, not options, Forex, or binary? Penny stocks are the easiest. They're the most hated niche in all of finance, thanks to the Wolf of Wall Street and so many scammers. Options, I've really never met a consistently profitable options trader. We had an options newsletter on Profitly before. It was good, and then it was really bad, and it was disastrous. And we will not have another options newsletter on Profitly. Forex, you have no edge. You have no advantage whatsoever. Huge amounts of leverage. You need to be rich. You need to be connected to really make a lot of money. And penny stocks are the opposite. You don't need to be rich. You don't need a lot of money. You don't need any connections. So it's kind of funny that this draws so many people in. But Forex is so liquid, and you can use 100-to-1 leverage. So people are like, oh, I'm going to have a $1,000 account, and I'm going to bet 100,000. This is awesome. I can make 20,000 in one trade. Or you could lose 20,000 in one trade, and you'll be $19,000 in debt, like most traders. 5 out of 6 Forex traders blow up and lose everything in 6 months. Understand the stats. And binary is the biggest scam of all. It's such a ridiculous, preposterous, ridiculous industry. It's funny that some of you guys even believe it, where you're not even betting on specific movements like going up or down like a 5% or 10% or 20%. You're just betting on if the stock is going to finish red or green. And so it's a total guessing game. But the worst part is that even if you are right, you don't double your money like you would in Vegas. You make like 70%. And if you're wrong, you lose. So in every single trade, whoever your binary broker is, they're going to be making money, whether they're making 30% if the customer is right or 100% if the customer is wrong. So you have no advantage whatsoever. It's mathematically impossible to do very well for a long time. And so they just get people in the door and they just steal. And I got to do a full expose on that. But if most penny stocks are scams, why trade them? So penny stocks, obviously, most people will say, Tim, like, you really claim to be a teacher? You really claim millionaires? Like, that's why I think when I donate, my charity donates $1 million in the next week, people are going to start to see, wow, there actually is real money here that can be life-changing. But most penny stocks are junk or scams, whatever you want to call it. But why trade them? Because it's predictable. It's predictable. What is better than betting against a scam that will eventually go to zero? If you're a value investor and you want to buy a good company at a low price, you do all this math and you say, oh, the company, the cash, the assets are worth more than the current stock price. And mathematically, you come up with a figure saying XYZ stock is trading at $2. If you add up all their assets, it's worth $3. So theoretically, it should go up. The problem with that is that you don't know the timing. You're making a lot of assumptions of what assets are worth in the future, and it's a very tough game. Value investing, sure, it makes some money in the long run, but year by year, you're making like what, 5-10% on your money maximum. Betting against scams, I know that sounds crazy, but if the company is worth zero, and you know it's worth zero, it's not a guessing game. It's not like, will Google or Facebook win the war? These are scams, and they crash. Let me pull up a chart. Hold on one sec. Here is PTCO, and it dropped literally 63% on Friday. And just take a look at what it was doing up until Friday's point. Every single day going up, and then the big crash. Here's another one, PSCR. This now in 2 days has crashed from $2 a share down to 45 cents. What was it doing up until this point? And it dropped 65%. Every single day it's going up, and then it crashes. There's another one. These are 3 examples that are crashing right now. 80 cents down to 20 cents in 2 days on SRUP. Let's just look what it's done over the past 2 months. Every single day it was going up while it was being pumped. These are pump and dumps, okay? PTCO, pump and dump, perfect crash. PSCR, pump and dump, perfect crash. SRUP, perfect crash. How do I know this pattern? Here's a blog post I wrote in 2010, the seemingly unchanging $1 million profit stock market pattern. And I showed the exact same thing on BPSR, which no longer exists, or if it does, it's at like a half a penny. Here's another one, HHWW, dropped from 280 down to 130 in 1 day. Thinkorswim at the time was the broker that I had that had shares to short, and I shorted 35,000 shares, covered way too soon. I think I made like $7 grand. Terrible trade. NXTH, this was the Shaquille O'Neal pump and dump, and it crashed while I was at Whole Foods from 325 down to 175. I was short. I made roughly 12 grand. It was pretty amazing. Here's Nini, dropped from 325 to 150 in 1 day. Here's Manchester, MNCS. Every single day it gets manipulated higher for months. I mean, we're talking all of June, July, August, September, and then in October, drops from 9 to 3 in 3 days. And then Zion, ZN, CLRH, this thing was pumped up with a mailer. Courtney Smith sent out the promo mailer for 2 weeks, and it pumped it up from $1 to $1.75. In 4 days, it dropped from $1.75 to 25 cents. You can find details of this on my blog, timothysykes.com. It's the same damn pattern. Here's Sponge Tech. This was getting pumped up by 17 different promoters, and it crashed in 1 day. They actually threatened to sue me and the New York Times or the New York Post, and they said that we colluded to crash the stock price. Even though I had never talked to the author, she only quoted my blog post about me exposing 17 different promoters. This is why it's so predictable. The only question is, can you find shares to short? And sadly, the answer is there aren't that many shares to short. If there were, I wouldn't be teaching. I'd be running $1 billion hedge fund, just shorting every single one of these, 1 million shares at a time, making 1 million, 2 million, and it would add up. There aren't that many shares to short. Although I will say that there were some shares of PTCO on Thursday and Friday, and I frankly did not see them. So props to one penny stock trader. His name is Cody, and he shorted. I don't know how much he made, but there were shares to short of PTCO, and I missed that. While I'm on this, with stocks to trade, here are the stocks that I'm watching. ESES had a big day on Friday. This was a contract winner, but I pull up this long-term chart so that you can see it's not a good long-term chart. Oh, I almost tripped on my cord. This was not a very good chart to buy, especially at 2. This was actually a great opportunity to short. You short the morning spike, very Tim Grittani, if you were prepared. I don't know if he shorted it right into this run up from 80 cents to 2, and there was long-term resistance at 2. It actually was a decent dip buy, and I underestimated its ability to bounce. And this was actually a chart pattern similar to FORD, which was a dip buy that I made roughly 10 grand on from Amsterdam, last summer, 2 summers ago. And some of you guys brought that up. So I make mistakes. It happens. LTRX is another one I'm watching. This is an earnings winner. And this was a nice breakout over the highs of 185 up to like 225, but it's not that volatile of a stock. And frankly, it's had a big spike in the past and it didn't fare well. So this doesn't really have that much history of holding on to big spikes, hence why I don't really feel guilty about missing this one. And then PULM, obviously, you know, this is the play of the moment. And I know so many shorts who are just getting wrecked, and it's just a short squeeze, you know. But it actually had a nice little breakout. You can see the former high above here at 180. When it came down here to 2 and it was basing, I mean, this was a fantastic dip buy heading into Friday, and I missed this run up. I know literally hundreds of my students nailed it, buying it at 210, 220, 230, and selling it at 270, 280, 293. It was all very quick, and now after hours, it keeps going. I'm scared to short this, frankly, because you know we've had this several times in the past few weeks. IDXG, ETRM, DRYS, now PULM, and short sellers, while you know they might eventually be right, I mean they risk so much and they're so stressed out. And then MYHI, you know, is getting closer and closer to breaking this key level of 90 cents. But you know, I was wrong. I thought that the breakout would happen. And frankly, it topped out at 90 cents and I exited safely. So if you're going into these stocks with a thesis and it just doesn't play out, cut losses quickly, exit quickly, and just be safe. You know, that's one of the keys to my success, is that I don't get married to these stocks. I'm not like, oh, this has to break 90 cents. Let me buy more. Let me double it. Oh, let me go all in. This has to happen. Nothing has to happen. Understand that all of these companies are junk. And if it doesn't break 90 cents, so be it. I was buying it at 80 cents. I was selling it around 86, 87. You know, it wasn't that big of a trade, but it could have been if it had broken 90 cents. I was wrong in my thesis. Even if somehow I did not sell into strength, and let's say I'm holding it right now, I'm break even. All day it held roughly 80 cents a share. So if you are on the right track, especially with these stocks that have, you know, solid support, I mean, I recognize that there was support here at 75 cents. So when I'm buying it at 80 cents and I'm risking losing 5 cents a share, and I'm buying it at 80 thinking it could go to 90 or $1, let's say that there's, you know, 20 cents of upside and 5 cents of risk, 4-to-1 risk reward. Even though it didn't play out, it's very difficult to lose money if you go in with a plan. It's very easy to lose money if you just chase a stock and you're like, oh, it has to break 90 cents. So go in with a plan. MYHI, PULM, LTRX, and ESES are my top 4 stocks to watch. ESES, I would love to short it if it gets back to 2. LTRX, I'm just watching to see if it can, you know, hold the 2s, and ideally I'd really like to buy it on a dip here in the 180s. PULM, I have no idea how high it can go, but this is definitely a potential short the higher it goes, because it's never shown an ability to really hold these spikes. But that said, I know there are a lot of short sellers who are stuck in it right now because they thought that it couldn't get this high. So I don't know how high it goes, but I guarantee this week at some point, this coming week, it's going to be dropping 20, 30, 40% in a day. And the question is, will you find shares to short? And then MYHI, I mean, this thing has been on a streak the past few weeks. And the whole question is this a double top now at 90 cents or can it break it? So I'll be watching very closely. If it gets back to 90 cents, I'll rebuy. And because it's an OTC stock and because it moves so quickly, I'm sorry, I'm going to be doing just live video lessons on OTC stocks from now on. I've been doing more live videos, but especially on these fast-moving stocks where, you know, by the time I even send out an alert, the price has changed so much and everyone's confused. It's just easier if I just show my trade on my screen. You don't even know if I'm in the stock or not, and that way you still learn and you see. In this case, if I had done a live video, you would have seen me fail. You would have seen me, you know, go in with a thesis that it would break out. When it didn't break out, I would have exited. It would have been the exact same thing. Anyways, those are the stocks that I'm watching. So when people say, if most of these are scams, why trade them? Predictability. The patterns are the same. ESES is a contract winner. LTRX is an earnings winner. PULM is a short squeeze. MYHI is a potential breakout. These are the basic patterns that I have been trading for 2 decades. And most of the time, I'm right. Sometimes I'm wrong. It's not the end of the world, especially when I'm wrong. I cut losses quickly. Am I a scam? Do I really have a charity? I'm not a scam. I'm working, 14, 16, sometimes 18 hours a day, making video lessons, watch lists, commentary, trade alerts, working on stocks to trade, working on investimonials, working on Profitly, writing new stuff, writing a book, working on a new TV show, traveling, having a family life. I mean, I do a lot of stuff, and I'm not a scam. And yes, I really do have a charity. The Timothy Sykes Foundation is a 501c3. And you'll see next week when we give, $1 million donation officially. I've already teased it, and, it's not an exact science, but officially next week it will be announced. Number 13, can you guarantee me profits? No, I can't even guarantee myself profits, okay? Every single trade can go bad. I might lose on every single trade in the future. I hope that the patterns stop working so that I can be free and really become a traveler and food critic like I always wanted to be. I don't want to necessarily trade. I don't need to do this. But when the patterns are working, I feel guilty missing out on them. And I feel guilty about not teaching them and showing you, especially when there's so much misinformation and there are so many fakers out there who claim to be teachers. When they don't show all their trades, they have 0 millionaire students. Or if they do have a millionaire student, you've just seen a screenshot. You haven't seen every trade that it takes to get there. So I can't guarantee you profits. I can guarantee you that I will teach you every single thing that I've learned. If you have thousands of students, why only a few millionaires? Because it takes time. Most of my students start with just a few $1,000s, and it's not easy to turn a few thousand into several $1 million, as only a few of my students have done. You need to study, you need to learn the patterns, you need to test the patterns, you need to be wrong sometimes and learn how to cut losses quickly. You have to be right sometimes and grow your account and double it and triple it and quadruple it, and then do it year in, year out, month in, month out, week in, week out, okay? It takes a lot of time. But as you can see from several of my upcoming millionaire students, it's not just 1 or 2 people who got lucky. It's the process that takes time. And I've only been teaching for 8 years now, 9 years, okay? It takes so much time and effort. And frankly, it's up to you guys to study. I might have thousands of students, but 80% of students don't even watch these video lessons. Even as we're getting to minute 47 right now, I doubt that 1/3 of my students are even watching all of this video lesson. They're just like, give me the stocks to trade next week. I don't care about any of this other shit. So it's tough. Education is tough. 80% of people who go to the gym, 80% of people who have a gym membership don't go to the gym. Sorry, I said that wrong, right? Why are people fat? Why are people unhealthy? Why are Americans so unhealthy? Even if you have a gym membership, you have to go to the gym. Even if you're at the gym, you can't just sit there and look at the opposite sex and be like, oh, this is the gym. That's not the gym. That's not the right gym, kind of experience. You need to go there and you need to sweat and you need to work out hard. Get a trainer if you have problems. If you're such a good trader, why do you teach? Just as I said, if you have problems, you get a trainer. If you're a trader and you're like 90% of people who lose, you have problems. So you need a trainer too. I am a trader trainer and I am here to help you. And it is my honor, it's my duty, it's my passion, and it's my pleasure. I love teaching. It's so much more fulfilling than just trading. Again, I could try to just short all of these pump and dumps and try to buy earnings winners, and then I'd just be like another trader with all these flickering green and red lights, and it would be meaningless. Okay? I traded on my own for over a decade before I started teaching. And when I got into teaching, I was hooked. I have an addictive personality, okay? I love sushi, I love travel, I love charity, and I love teaching. And you have to do what you love. So if you want to say I'm not a good trader, no good traders teach, fine. Whatever helps you sleep at night. I've made millions of dollars before I got started teaching. I'm scared to lose. What if I lose everything? Rule number 1 is cut losses quickly, okay? So if you lose everything, you're breaking my first rule. And most of the time, I got a tweet the other day from somebody who was like, I'm going all in, dip buying DRYS. And that was, before the stock just dropped another 50%. I was like, try not to go all in and try not to buy such a terrible pattern. Stop breaking all my rules at once. So the rules are by which you live. That's what you live and die by in the stock market. If you drive 200 miles an hour in my Ferrari in a 35 mile an hour school zone and the kids are crossing and you swerve to avoid the kids and you crash into a telephone pole and die, is it the Ferrari's fault? Or is it your fault because you were driving so fast and you weren't paying attention to the rules? So this is why I teach. You know, if you have no rules, if you have no guidance, if you have no education, you are more likely to lose everything. Ignorance, laziness, confusion leads to losses. Diligence, being meticulous, patience leads to gains. And I have to teach you that. So if you're scared to lose, that's good. Trade scared. If you trade scared, you will not be scared to trade. Think about that. Say that out loud a few times. Number 17, why do I have to give you my phone number to apply to the trading challenge? A lot of people ask me this. They're like, why can't I just sign up? Because my trading challenge is live webinars with me and my millionaire students. And I will not subject myself nor the others to you unless you prove that you are dedicated. And my team has to interview you and talk to you and make sure that you have the right mindset and that you're the right person for this. We reject a lot of people from my trading challenge who are just like, yeah, I have money. Let me just pay. I just want in. Just give me the hot pick so I get access to everybody. No, you have to prove that you're going to be a respectful student because these are live webinars. And I'm not just going to throw you to my millionaire students. They're busy trading themselves, okay? Teaching takes time away from their own journey. But that said, they enjoy teaching too. They enjoy giving back to the community. But the community must be curated. And frankly, that's why we have the largest number of millionaires, because we make sure that only people with the right attitude. So if you're not willing to give your phone number, if you're not willing to do an interview with my team, don't bother applying. We're not offended, just run along. That's the kind of the beauty of being real. I don't care if you believe me. I don't care if you think that I'm a scam. If you think that, don't learn and see how you do on your own. The beauty of being real in an industry full of scams is I get to choose my students. And I know that's tough for people to accept because they're like, why are you such a dick? I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just trying to help you understand what this is and why my business is so successful in creating millionaires from scratch. You got to be on the right, level with me to get going with this. Number 18, I see pictures and videos of you trading off just a laptop. Come on, be real. What else do I need to do this? What else do I need to do this? Nothing. I literally trade off a laptop. I don't understand people with multiple monitors. I understand, I guess, that they have bigger accounts and they're trading multiple stocks. I usually just trade 1 or 2 stocks at a time. So I can do that off a laptop. I'm very simplified in my approach. Some people say it's too simplistic. Fine, whatever. I'm not changing for you. I'm not changing this late in the game. I've had too much success in trading and now in teaching with the way that I've been doing this. Okay? You can't teach an old Jew new tricks. I will not change. Unless I start, stop having new millionaires, unless I stop having trading success, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You often get into trades and then out very quickly and give a ton of excuses. Come on, be real. Why lie? I'm not lying. I know it's tough to accept the full transparency aspect of what I do, but if I have bad Wi-Fi, I get out of the trade. And I'm understanding of what that bad Wi-Fi might mean. I trade like a coward. If my signal is going in or out, I don't enjoy the action like some of these gunslingers do. I see a lot of gunslingers shorting big and blowing up big and obviously not being out profitably because they don't want to show that. They're social media heroes with screenshots. I show every single trade, good or bad. I include everything that interferes or influences my trading. If I'm on the West Coast of the US, I'm usually sleep deprived. I suck at trading. You look at my stats, you'll see it. It's not just in my head, it's real. If I'm on the East Coast or if I'm traveling in Europe and I'm not sleep deprived and I'm loving life because of the US time zone with the stock market hours, it's good. If I have good Wi-Fi, if I'm at home, if I have no meetings, if I'm trying to schedule in a meeting in between a trade, it's going to influence my trading. So I look at all these influences, and if you watch my trader checklist guide, you will see all the influences and indicators that I use. Personal schedule is something that you should not ignore, and too many people do. Too many people get into a stock and they're like, oh, I have a meeting, I'll just hold this stock. And an hour later, the meeting is over and you most likely have lost because you didn't keep an eye on your money. You wouldn't go to Vegas and leave like $20,000 on a blackjack table and be like, oh, I'm just going to go to the bathroom. Can you watch this random fat drunk guy in the seat next to me? No, you wouldn't do that, okay? You would take the money with you. And I don't know why trading is different, maybe because you don't realize what like $20,000 really means when it's just digital and you're just clicking a few buttons. But I trade like a coward, and sometimes I do get out quickly. And I don't mean to, I don't enjoy it. I know what it looks like when I'm like, oh, I'm buying a stock, and then 5 or 10 minutes later, I'm like, oh, it's not doing what I want, I'm out. But at the same time, that's how I want you to trade. I want to teach you. The reason why I trade with a small account is to show you how to trade with a small account. I want to show you my exact mindset as if I only had, $5,000 to my name. That's how cowardly I would trade. That's why you see me with so few big losses. Number 20, I have a full-time job or I'm in school. Can I still do this? Yes. Study at night, study on weekends. Make it work. Multitask. My God, you lazy people. What is a pump and dump? So if you've seen the movie Wolf of Wall Street or Boiler Room, you have these promoters and you have these insiders who have millions or tens of millions of shares of this worthless junk company, and they send out mailers. They do, telemarketing phone calls. I've seen some promotions now on WhatsApp and on Twitter and on social media, and they buy ads on different financial websites, and they market this piece of shit company so that they can sell their millions or tens of millions of shares for inflated prices. They're getting, let's say, 10 million shares at a penny, and then they say, oh, this company found gold in Peru. And they mark it up and they, try and get it up to, $1, $2 a share. Just like all those pumps that I showed you that collapsed 60% in a day. That's the downside of pump and dumps, because they pump it up with marketing, but once they've sold most or all their shares, they don't market anymore. And then these stocks drop 40, 50, 60, 70% in a day. Okay, this kind of stuff happens all the time. This is a blog post, mind you, from 6 years ago. The patterns have not changed. Why have the patterns not changed? Because pump and dumps are run the same. And the cool thing is you can short sell them. If you can't find shares to short, which happens often, then you just sing my song, No Borrow, No Cry. I made a whole music video on it. I want to short sell a pump and dump, but my broker says that's not possible. Is this illegal? When I first got started teaching, a lot of people said, oh, Tim, what you're doing is illegal. How dare you? You can't short sell penny stocks. My broker says that's not possible. Your broker is a liar, and your broker sucks. And he's trying, or she is trying to cover it up by saying that it's not possible or it's illegal. Of course you can short sell penny stocks. You just have to find the borrows. And that's why the broker game is so important. I have E-Trade, I have Interactive Brokers. Sometimes they don't have shares to short. I also have a high net worth broker where the minimum is $30,000, and they sometimes do have shares to short. They had shares to short of PULM. If you want an intro to my high net worth broker, I don't even name them publicly because I don't want them overwhelmed, and most people don't have $30,000 to open up an account. But if you want an intro, say in an email to admin@timothysykes.com, hey, intro me to your high net worth broker, and we gladly will. But I've made the mistake in the past of naming some brokers where I'm like, oh, this broker has shares to short. And then everyone rushes to open an account, and then the broker sucks forever. So I won't make that mistake again. You live, you learn. But no, it's not illegal. You just need to find specific brokers. You say to trade safely, but I see you have a margin account. Explain. Some people send me these messages like, I see that you're lying. I caught you in a lie. Explain your lie to me. A margin account enables you to short sell, okay? Using margin is what is needed to short sell. You need $2,000 in an account minimum in order to short sell. Margin is not the same as leverage. I don't say go all in. I don't say bet everything that you have times 6 like some of these shady brokers do, okay? I say use a small percentage of your account in order to short sell. That's margin. That is not leverage, and you can trade safely, especially when you're shorting these pump and dumps. If you follow my rules, short on the first red day, or maybe even a day before, expecting a first red day, because on the first red day, oftentimes there's no shares to short. So sometimes you have to be a day or 2 or even 3 days early in order to lock down the shares. And I have DVDs and video lessons about it. Number 24, by the time I get your trade alert, the stock has already moved a lot. Why can't you not write out a long commentary and just be quicker like other chat rooms with just a ticker and a price? So I understand that there are chat rooms out there that are like, bought XYZ, 550, bought this. And they are not teaching anything. They're just trying to be quick. And that is not going to help you become a millionaire. Frankly, this is why I have more millionaire students. I don't cater to junkies who just want picks and action. If you're a junkie who wants that, go somewhere else. I'm not your drug dealer, okay? I'm here to create millionaire students. So when I give a trade alert, I'm going to write out my commentary. Why am I exiting? Why am I entering? Sometimes, in some of these videos, you see me typing it out. And you're like, I know some people are like, why are you spending so much time? Because I don't want you following my trade alerts ever. I don't want you following anybody's trade alerts ever. I want you thinking for yourself. And me explaining why helps you do that. Number 25, what makes you different from all other teachers? I've heard you're a scam. Again, I'm not a scam, but I do have a lot of enemies in the trading world because I've called them out. I show every single trade transparently. I show my income tax returns. I show my broker statements. I don't know why these other teachers don't. And frankly, you'll hear every excuse in the book. I don't need to do that. That's bullshit, okay? I make the analogy, if you go to a baseball game or a basketball game or any sports game, you look up at the scoreboard and you see what that athlete's performance is. You can see in the games, this athlete has this many points, or this batting average, this many rebounds. We have stats. Trading is no different. No matter what these liars, frauds, and cowards say otherwise, there are trading stats for everybody. You can see winning percentage. You can see biggest loss. You can see, biggest gain. You can see number of millionaire students if you show it. Unfortunately, there is no NFL or NBA or MLB for trading. And that's why trading, frankly, is looked down upon by society because there's so many liars. They don't want to show all their stats. They're screenshot heroes. They like to show one screenshot and they angle it and they crop out position sizes and entry prices and you just see like an execution. It's a fucking joke. So if trading ever has a chance to really go mainstream, just show everything. Stop being such sketchy motherfuckers. Why is this so difficult? I don't know. I'm just yelling at my laptop. It's not going to change anything. So if you want to learn from somebody who doesn't show all their stats, go be my guest, and you'll see what happens a few months or a few years from now. If you want to learn from somebody with no millionaire students, be my guest. You'll see what happens. If you want to learn from a newbie who doesn't have more than 1, 2, 3, 4 years of experience and they think they know everything because they've seen the recent bull market but they've never seen a bear market, go be my guest. I'm myself, and I show you every single trade, everything that I do right and wrong. I don't hide my losses. I make stupid mistakes. And I think also this year, by my showing more live trading videos from start to finish, I'm differentiating myself more. And I'm going to do a lot more live videos. I think that's really useful for you guys. But again, if you think I'm a scam, just don't learn. No one is forcing you to learn from me. No one is forcing you to study. This is not like Clockwork Orange where I have some machine that's opening up your eyes that's forcing you to study. I can't study for you. I can just tell you my point of view and what I think you need to do in order to become successful. Do you see why I want you to share this video with everybody? Because I get all these questions all the time. Literally, it took me like maybe 4.5 minutes to write down these 30 questions, just thinking about the FAQs that I get. And it's sad, everyone has the same questions. So please do me a favor and share this video on Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, email it to friends and family, whoever. If somebody thinks that I'm a scam, say, hey, here's Tim Sykes answering why he's not a scam. You be the judge. That's the beauty of being real. I can share this anytime. This hour-long video, I can make one of these every freaking day. I just don't normally have the time. That's why I'm releasing this on a Sunday when I should be resting, but there's no football, so it's fine. What's the best piece of advice that you can give me? Follow your heart, even if you don't necessarily want to be a trader, but let's say you're good at math or you understand these lessons and you see the patterns, use trading to make enough money so that you can really indulge in your passion, whatever it is. I use trading in order to travel and in order now to give back because I love giving back through my charity and I love traveling. And trading is just a means to an end to do that. If you want to be a poet, if you want to be an artist, a singer, an athlete, a food critic, a couch potato, whatever you want to do in life, unfortunately, you do have bills and responsibilities and expenses, so you need money. And I think trading is a great way to do that, especially if you study and you learn everything. I mean, you can learn every single thing that I've learned in 1, 2, or 3 years. If you've been studying for more than 3 years with me and you still don't get it and you're actually watching all the video lessons, you have my, okay to just quit, because if you don't get all this stuff within 3 years, it's just not right for you. And that's okay. I don't think it's ever happened before. I actually had a student, challenge student, NH, who didn't necessarily pay attention to my rules, but kept studying. And for the first 3 years, kept blowing up accounts, like losing 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. But after a while, they got, and I can't say their full name. They don't want like the publicity, which is fine. But after a while, they finally got it, and they made 300,000 plus. They got their dream home, they got their car, and they sent me a nice email thanking me. So sometimes it does take 3 years. But after that, it's really tough to say, it's still worth it. But if you can give me 1 or 2 years to study all this stuff, and I'm not like a college, okay? You can invest in all my stuff, and there's no way that it would even be close to $50,000 for 1 year of college. But studying and trading can help you get enough money to really pursue your dreams. And so you don't have to work for somebody else's dreams. You don't have to have a boss or a cubicle or debts. And frankly, that's what trading is to me. I changed the question a little bit. What does trading mean to you? But that's the best piece of advice that I think. Number 27, I don't speak much English. Can I still do this? No. Learn English, okay? Not just for trading, but just in general. This is the largest language in the world. Maybe in a few years we'll have a universal translator. Right now, learn English. Get with it. Number 28, my parents and friends say this is a scam. Why should I believe you and not them? Go ahead, believe them. This is the beauty of why I love my haters. First of all, my first millionaire student, Michael Good, was a hater. Hold up, let me find an article, 1 sec. So if you go to Google and you type why Timothy Sykes is full of BS, you will see this article from 2008. And this is Michael Good's, this is his early blog, and he said why Timothy Sykes is full of bullshit. Bullshit was my first publishing company. I thought that it was cute, like I was gonna cut through the bull and Wall Street and then ship you books and DVDs. Ha ha. No one really got it, and I got made fun of often. So now my new publishing company is called Millionaire Media. It's very easy to see what my goal is. But he wrote like this whole thing on like why my DVDs are ridiculous, and even assuming some strategy works, if enough people follow that strategy, it will cease to work. Well, fast forward nearly a decade, we have a few thousand students following it, but nothing has changed. The patterns are the exact same. And you can read the whole article, but he basically changed his opinion. He said, since writing this article, I've changed from Tim Sykes' biggest critic to his biggest fan. Please see this article on my new trading blog about how my opinion of Tim Sykes has changed. And this is why I love my critics. You can hate me. You can not believe me at first. That's fine. I'm just going to keep doing the same thing. I'm going to keep teaching. I'm going to keep trading. I'm going to keep creating millionaire students. And you're going to see more and more millionaire students. Okay? That's the beauty of being real. Every single pump, you'll see patterns like this. More and more students' charts will look like Dux Trader if they study on the toilet. And no, I'm never going to let that down, Dux Trader. You shouldn't have said that. So if you want to go with your parents and your friends and other people and say, oh, this is a scam, be my guest. Consider yourself ruled out. You're doing me a favor. I don't have time for non-dedicated students. I don't have time for students with the wrong mindset. If you're going to doubt every single thing, it's going to be impossible for me to even teach you. So please leave my website. Don't watch my videos. Pretend you never even heard about me. That's fine. I'm not offended. I understand. I trade sketchy penny stocks. You can just write me off. But I'll tell you, if you do that, rule out the chances of you becoming a millionaire. Because without education, the odds of you actually becoming so successful are so slim, it's crazy. Education is your only chance at becoming successful. And if you ignore that, then frankly, you ignore your potential future self. And your 2027 version of yourself will probably smack you across your face if they could go back in time. You know, if we develop a time machine and somebody from the future, 10 years, you can go back 10 years and see your past self. If you ignore these teachings, if you ignore these rules, which you're free to do, your future self will smack the shit out of you. That's my promise to you. But you make your own choice. Don't let me or your future self influence you. Um, with Lewis, I made a lot of like time travel jokes too. I don't know why it keeps coming up, but I think that your future self is important, and it's important to think of where you want to be in 5, 10, forget about even 10 years. What about 20 years? And if you dedicate 1 or 2 or 3 years to education, imagine the difference in your potential life. That's the kind of cool thing. I can't guarantee you profits, but I can guarantee you education. And I will tell you, even if you make no money whatsoever in trading, this kind of teaching, this kind of mindset will change your life. And I get thousands of emails from people where trading did not necessarily work out for them because of their schedule or their country or their personality. But the way that I teach about always believing in yourself and challenging yourself and forcing yourself to focus on education and gaining new experiences and new perspectives from different cultures around the world, it's a very good way to think. This is more than just the stock market or trading or penny stocks. This is a new way of looking at life. And frankly, there's a lot of bad information and a lot of bad guidance out there. And there's a lot of bad paths that you can go down. Education and growing yourself and self-development is not a bad thing, especially when it's real, okay? Just be careful who you learn from because there's so many fakers on the internet these days. It's crazy. Number 29, where do you see the stock market going? And if there's a bear market, what will you do? I'm going to run and I'm going to hide and I'm going to cry. I'm going to eat ice cream for a month. I actually do I'm kidding. I'll actually do better in bear markets. I prefer short selling. It's really scary to short. Even junk companies like PULM that are spiking so fast right now. I prefer a bear market, but it doesn't look like it's happening right now. And all I can do is pray that eventually we will have some reason and some crashing. But if that happens, a bear market or a crash happens, then there'll be good shorting opportunities. And then when the crashes happen enough, there'll be good dip buying opportunities. You just need volatility. So I'd be much more worried about a stock market that's doing nothing than a bear market. And right now we're hitting all-time highs, and we have a lot of political upheaval, so we might have a crash. Volatility is good, long or short. That's the beauty of being a trader, not an investor. I just need stocks moving up or down, and I'll try to find pump and dumps to short, or stocks with good earnings or contracts to buy, or breakouts. Sometimes there's not even a news catalyst. Please watch my trader checklist guide. I'm going to be uploading it to YouTube so that there will be no technical glitches. And again, I'll be working on the next 9 hours of trader checklist. If you want to get access to the next 9 hours, you have to send an email to admin@timothysykes.com and say you want the next 9 hours. And we'll let you know when it's ready. I'm working on it. It takes time to make 9 hours of instructional guides. Number 30, the last question of the day. Do you really think you can create more millionaires, or is that just BS to get my money? It's not BS. And again, as I think that hopefully you realize by my sharing so much video and pictures and students and trade alerts and watch lists and blog posts and commentary and sharing pretty much as I can of my life, I'm real. The strategy is real. These patterns are real. The rules work more times than not. Sometimes I'm going to be wrong. Sometimes I will lose. Sometimes I'll make a stupid mistake. But at the same time, it's an overall general path to success. And I guarantee that I will have more millionaire students. I don't know when. I don't know who it'll be. This is not like a competition. When I went to film with Tim Grattani, my second millionaire student, crossing $1 million, I flew out to his house in Ohio. I actually got to post that. And the first time I flew out there with my whole video team, he was on video and there was so much pressure and he actually lost like $50,000. And I was like, oh, this is a bad idea. I'm sorry. And, a few weeks later we flew back again and he passed it. But don't feel pressure to become a millionaire. Don't feel pressure to like, oh, I have to achieve this, imaginary monetary goal to really be encouraged to learn. I don't care if you make 5,000 or 50,000 or 100,000 or 1 million or 10 million. It's all about learning and getting better over time. And as you do that, the money will add up surprisingly fast after like year 2, year 3, year 4. in the beginning, it's tough. Even Tim Grittani, arguably the best trader of the past 5 years, he wasn't consistently profitable for 9 months. So the only problem that I have is that most people give up in month 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 because they haven't made a lot, or they haven't lost, maybe they've lost some, but they've spent so much time in studying and they're like, it's just not working. And I hate it when people, quit too early. And I think a lot of people think that this is some like magic thing, like some scheme or some trick where, the money's just going to appear in your account in month 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's not a trick. It's not a scheme. It's real. And you have to wait for the right plays. Even when you have the right plays, you have to be ready. And even when you're ready, you have to be prepared, and you have to, try to see how to profit, 10, 20, 30% long or short. And sometimes, with all that pressure, you're waiting for this perfect supernova, and maybe the supernova doesn't act exactly the same as it should. PULM, it's very tough for it to be a third green day, but it achieved it on Friday, and it was a nice short squeeze. So sometimes it's not an exact science, and you have an extra day of spiking, and that causes losses. So you wait all this time for the right play, you're all prepared, and then the stock doesn't do what you want, and you're discouraged, and you stop studying. You can't let any one play get to you. Okay, as I posted that video before, it's not just about monetary losses. A lot of people have, kind of like these expectation losses where they expect the trade to be perfect, and they expect to pass some like ridiculous boundary, like, okay, I've done everything, this is my time. And then, when you're finally there for the perfect stock, it doesn't do what you want, and you get so discouraged, you're like, I hate this. This is all wrong. No one play matters. Okay? You need to stay in this game, and after you do it long enough, you'll learn that sometimes a play might change here or there, but the pattern, by and large, while not an exact science, works pretty damn well. And, just like Duck's trader, where, he lost 10,000 on PULM, so what? He cut losses quickly, and he still made, 150,000 on the month. So you have to keep everything in perspective. You can't put all your expectations and hopes on any one stock, or 2 stocks, or 3 stocks, or any 1 or 2 or 3 months. This is something that you have to learn, and you have to refine and optimize over time. And I wish it were easier. Maybe in the future, there'll be better educational tools, but for right now, this is pretty damn good and pretty revolutionary. Within an hour of me recording this video, I'm going to post it, and you're going to be able to watch this in your living room, no matter wherever you are in the world. And that would not have been possible just a few years ago. So you have to think of everything in terms of, what the future holds. And that means for technology, education, for you, for me, for my charity, for the stock market, for these patterns. And the more you think about it, if you have the right mindset and you stick with it, yes, I'm going to have more millionaires. And if you need to make $1 million to feel like a success, like if somebody's only made $900,000 with my strategy, they're not a millionaire. Oh, someone's made $1 million, but after taxes, it's only like $600,000 or $700,000. They're not a millionaire. If you make freaking $10,000, that's more than anybody ever pays me for learning. So if you make $100,000, you're making 10 or 20 times what you paid me for learning. If you make 200,000, you're making 20 or 30 or 40 times. If you're making $1 million, you're making hundreds of times whatever you put into this education. So it's not just about making $1 million, although I do know that inspires you. And Harvard professors and researchers have proven that if you have a big goal at the end, like making $1 million, it increases your daily performance 15 to 25%. So this is why I'm so focused on the $1 million, and why I show off my Lamborghini and Ferrari and stacks of $1 million or $1.2 million in cash, because these kinds of big goals motivate you every single day to do better and get closer to the big goal. But you have to be very clear about what that big goal is. And everyone's goal is different. I know some people where they're like, Tim, I don't need to become a millionaire. I just want to learn how to make 10,000. Well, on your way to making $1 million, you do need to learn how to make 10,000. But it's better to learn, for the long run than just say, oh, I made 10,000, I'm out. Why are you out? If you've learned to make 10,000, you might as well continue learning, and you might as well see what you can then do. Because this is all part of the same strategy and all part of the same process. But you can't cheat your way to success. Okay, I can't just give you $1 million and be like, oh, there's my new millionaire student. It's all about self-sufficiency. None of my millionaire students rely on me. They can do this all on their own. And if you're in the challenge chat room where Mark Crook, who's not yet a millionaire, but he's made close to $700,000, it's funny when I'm entering in a trade and I'm typing up my whole commentary and it takes me like 30 seconds to type up my commentary. And Mark Crook doesn't need to type up a long commentary. He's just providing exclusive alerts to challenge students. We type in sometimes the exact same price, the exact same stock. And we don't talk to each other. We're not like telling each other, oh, I'm going to do this. I don't tell anybody my trades ahead of time. Okay, I report it to my students. But it's crazy because he's watched all my video lessons now 4 times. Let me just repeat that. He's watched all of my video lessons 4 times. And if you've seen all my video lessons, they're tagged and categorized because of Mark Crook. And it's crazy that I've been able to transfer my knowledge and my patterns to him. And I want that to happen to more people, you know, and it's not an exact science. You know, I wish this were the Matrix where I could just, you know, take everything out of my head and put it into a little, like a little stick, a little USB stick, and then plug it into your head. And then you're like, oh, I know penny stock trading. It doesn't work that way. So I try my best, but sometimes I'm going to be wrong. And a lot of the time it's going to take much more time than you want it to. You know, you might be on the verge of getting into profitability, and then one trade will set you back and you'll have forgotten rules and you'll get really discouraged. You can't let any one trade get to you. Okay, you can't let any one trade beat you and take you out of the game. No one trade matters. The process matters. The amount of time that you spend studying and your dedication matters more than any one trade. So, do I really think I can create more millionaires, or is that just BS to get my money? If you think that I'm BS, then again, just take yourself out of consideration, because I don't have time to deal with any doubters. And I most certainly will create more millionaires. And I guarantee you that whoever is my next millionaire, they will have the right attitude. They will be studying on the toilet, okay? That is how dedicated they will be. They will not be questioning like, I'm on the toilet. Should I really study or not? Maybe this is BS. Let me just focus on what I'm here to do on the toilet and not study. My millionaire students will not have that questioning process going on in their heads, okay? Dedication is needed. And that's why I have to repeat myself so often. Some people are like, okay, we get it. We have to be dedicated. Some of you guys don't get it. You think that this is like a little card trick that I'm teaching you. This is a whole way of thinking about the market. I was a philosophy major. And in order for me to create more millionaires, you need to really, dive deep. You really have to live this and believe it. And if you're my Trading Challenge student, I mean, you have literally thousands of archived webinars from several millionaire traders. I think we're up to 1,500 or 1,700 archived webinars. Watch every single one. I know that you think the past doesn't matter and you're like, yeah, this was 2 or 3 years ago. Patterns repeat. Opportunities repeat. And if you can learn from the past, you're better prepared for the present to really make your future bright. And again, I know that's corny, but I'm just a glorified history teacher. My millionaire students, they've just studied their history well, and they've learned to adapt, and they've learned to focus on their own strengths and weaknesses. And Mark Crook, Michael Good, Dux Trader, these guys trade very differently. I have several millionaire students who don't even post in the community. They want their privacy, and they trade very differently, okay? And that's cool. There's no one right way to become a millionaire, but there is a specific method, and that's studying and being dedicated. No millionaire student of mine, no six-figure student of mine has ever gotten lucky and just was like, oh, let me just bet it all on this stock. Okay, if you do that, you might win on 1 or 2 or 3, but then you'll lose more times than not. My millionaire students and I win 60, 65, 70, 75% of the time. And the way that we have our winning percentage that high is through incessant and ridiculous amounts of study. So I'm not offering you some $1 million trick where there's no hard work. On the contrary, this is probably the hardest studying that you'll ever have to do. I'm probably the hardest teacher that you'll ever have, the toughest teacher. I'm not here to be your friend. I'm not here to coddle you. I'm here to teach you the blueprint to becoming a millionaire, because I've done it from scratch, and now several of my students have. That's my whole goal. That's what I wake up for every single day. So focus on that big goal. Take it one trade at a time. Be dedicated and, let the process play out. And if you're not ready for it, I'm not offended. I'm not angry. Just don't waste my time. So that's today's video lesson. I hope you learned a lot. We're closing in on 90 minutes. Please, again, share this on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest, Snapchat. Email it to your friends and family because I get these questions all the time and you're doing me a favor. You're doing me a solid by sharing it. So thank you, and I'll see you guys in the chat room tomorrow. Let's have a good week. Congrats to everybody on January. Let's just keep it going, guys. This is awesome, and I'm so grateful that you're even listening and studying. I want more millionaire students. Who's it going to be?